we'll get this meeting started. This is the joint meeting between the Open Space Advisory Committee and the Parks and Rec Commission. And so we'll call the meeting to order at 5:30. I'll start off with roll call.
Starting with Open Space Advisory Committee, Chair Wiggins. Vice Chair Burge. Member Anderson. Member Kimbrough. Member Mozingo. Member Norrie. And Member Schaefer. Moving on to Parks and Rec, Chair McDermott.
Here.
Vice Chair Schutte. Commissioner Baker Roberts. Here. Commissioner Fazier. Here. Commissioner Meyer. Here. Commissioner Moan. And Commissioner Walt.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Great. Moving on to item number 3 for public comment. Anybody from the public wishing to address, please step on up. We have a form to fill out, and please state your name for the record. Okay.
Should I sit down?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So I am here just as a resident of Carson City, long-term resident. I have the good fortune of driving on just about every day East 5th Street from the prison area into town, and I get to go right through Lompa Ranch, where all the ranch and outbuildings are on my right, and there's this lovely pasture with a barn and a windmill on the left. And that parcel, it just dawned on me that may be subject to development, like most of the other land of the Lompa family and ranch has occurred. So I am trying to find out how to get started to see if this remaining lovely parcel of open land, open space, can be protected from building on it. Does everybody, I sent an email to all the open space people just to bring you a little bit up to speed. So I don't know if it's considered a wetlands or a wildlife migration thoroughfare. I see a lot of really cool wildlife in there when I drive by. I do know that it's privately owned by the Lompa family, and I just have a concern that at some point it might go up for sale to developers, and I'm very ignorant of this entire process, what the Open Space Advisory Committee does, but I have seen articles and things written about things in Ash Canyon and Silver Saddle, and I'm hoping that something can be done to protect this piece of land. So I just need some guidance on where to start, whose cages do I rattle. I know that I guess the supervisors need to make a recommendation, I think, to the Open Space Committee to consider this. I don't know. So I'm just here saying, help, what can I do as a private citizen to get this on the radar of the right people? That's why I'm here.
Jen?
Okay.
Because we don't have it on the agenda, but
lovely.
we can follow up together.
Yes, and I do want to say thank you. Jennifer Budge and Lindsay Boyer have both been really helpful in me getting emails out to the right people to kind of get started. So I guess that's it. I just wanted to get it on the radar. Thank you.
Thank you, Monique. Anybody else wishing to take advantage of the public comment? All righty, moving on to item number 4. For the approval of minutes, we'll start with the open space. Has everybody had a chance to review your minutes from the last meeting, and is there a motion to approve or any questions?
I need to change. I thought it was a test. We got Sam introducing the horse. What was the land I can't remember. The property that was on last week's, last meeting that we
Horse Creek Ranch Conservation Easement.
Do you want me to say anything?
So, and then you were, with Sam making them, he didn't introduce that section. Very petty, but it's part of the.
Well, he did introduce it because you passed it off to him for that section, I believe. That was why I had it in there that way. When that item was introduced, you gave it to Sam to introduce it. He actually did introduce the item.
Yeah, I don't know, though, if there's, I mean, he's got the recording.
Yeah, it's got timestamps. I'll go back and review it. Yeah.
Then the other part, confusing part was that the member me was introducing everything, but chairman was just voting. Because you had to wear that different hats even though it's running the meeting. You did a good job sorting that out. I didn't have that hat. I'm sorry. That's it. Anybody else have any changes?
All right. Motion to approve?
Yeah, do you want to do them separately?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I move to approve the minutes of the Open Space Advisory Committee meeting of 4/20/2026.
Okay, you're the chair.
I'm the chair.
Yeah,
Now?
let me make the motion for you. How's that?
Oh,
You should
I thought-
introduce, it would have been easier if he introduced it, but, you know,
yeah,
Okay.
because it's open space, so he can call for the question, but he can't give.
I can't as the chair, huh?
You gave me the gavel. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. very
Yeah.
good.
So now you,
now you're
now you,
trolling.
I'm asking if you guys were in agreement.
so now I'll make the motion, someone second,
I'll second it.
and he's the chair of the meeting.
All right, then the open space is approved.
We-
To the Parks and Rec side, the
We
commission,
don't know the difference.
Are the,
any vote?
does the attorney want to weigh in on our
Yes, Mr. Chair,
procedure?
you'll have to propose for vote before you approve it.
For both
you have
or
a
one at a
motion.
time?
You can do it one at a time.
Okay.
For the sake of the record.
We want to take a vote for the open space? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain, I wasn't here.
Perfect. Now to the Parks and Recreation Commission. Approval for minutes, any questions?
So moved.
You're supposed to introduce it.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, minutes approved. Moving on to item number 5 for discussion. And that's the updates for the Friends of the Silver Saddle Ranch for Greg Brennan. Bregan.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Greg Bergeron, for the record, Trails Coordinator. So I just want to introduce Mike Drews. He's the new chair of Friends of Silver Saddle Ranch. He's been a member of Foster for about 12 years, and he's also the chair of the Historic Resources Commission. So with that, I will let Mike tell you about the many projects and services that Foster has provided to us over the last year.
Thank you, Greg. For the record, I'm Mike Drews. I'm the current president of Friends of Silver Saddle Ranch. Been a member for about 15 years, I think.
Oh.
It all runs together. Foster was incorporated in 2001, just after, or somewhat after BLM acquired the land. Our mission statement is to maintain the historical significance of the ranch as a working farm and ranch and support restoration and conservation of natural and cultural resources, restoration of the river corridor, and provide additional educational interpretive opportunities. One of the issues we have is our incorporation was a result of the BLM acquisition. Most of the documentation we have, including our charter And our agreement with BLM is all directed at BLM and not Parks and Rec. So we're in the process of changing all that now, getting our articles of incorporation together and working with Jen and Lindsay to get us under the city umbrella. Some of the early projects that Foster did was we replaced 2 wooden bridges across Mexican Ditch at the ranch. We would annually install bird boxes and wood duck boxes along the river, rep trees for beaver protection, and we procured funds for the 2011 conservation easement in Carson River Planning Area Master Plan update. Currently, one of our members, Dave Deneen, owns the Hee Haw Haven Mules. You've probably seen him around town if you've been out at the ranch. I know Mark's taken rides with us. And we have 3 mule-drawn wagons that we use a lot out there. When we originally incorporated, we had about 20 members. Since we've got the wagons and kind of updated our profile, we're now up to about, 72 members. I think we have 10 corporate members, and we're doing quite well. And it's helping us because we can now not only pay for our board insurance and our wagon insurance, but we can start putting money towards projects at the ranch. And that's kind of one of our big goals. We worked with Lindsay and Greg with the SHPO memorandum of agreement there, and things like that. So things are moving along good. In the past 3 years, right around May Day or Cinco de Mayo, we've been doing ranch cleanups. Last year, we had about 15 volunteers who put in 60 hours of work. We weeded around the red house. Originally, the red house had a really nice front yard, and Gary, the caretaker from BLM, was watering every day. It was really beautiful. As BLM's interest waned in that property, the grass pretty much went away and just turned into a big weed patch. We also collected dog poop along major trails of the ranch. We took on the effort of weeding and replanting the red house lawn. And we repaired and replaced some broken windows in the chicken coop. This year, we only had 11 volunteers come out, but we managed to clean the Quonset hut at the old White Ranch complex at the entrance to the park. There's a periodic rodent problem there, and we store our wagons and things in that, so it was important to get that clean. We weeded and raked around the red house. We had 10 bags of weeds just from right around the fenced area of the red house. It's amazing how the weeds just take off there. And the original outhouse there is that south outhouse, the south end of the parking lot. That had never been painted. So we got 5 gallons of paint and used 4 gallons of it to soak into that house. It's in pretty bad condition. In the future, it's going to need to be resided because it's plywood siding and it's starting to weather pretty bad. A couple years ago, we started partnering with the park rangers, first out at Silver Saddle Ranch. We provide wagon rides for their historic tours out there. We've been doing the cemetery tours, the Halloween cemetery tours that they do. As Hank Monk's stage, we take riders around the cemetery a couple nights around Halloween. And we've been participating in Kids to Park Day, which is really fun. I'll bring it up a little later, but the kids really like seeing the animals. This year, when we were out there, one of our members has a donkey. Dave's also got a Norwegian Fjord horse, and we had the mules, and we pretty much showed the kids what the math is like to produce a mule. So that was fun. Every August, we team with Mile High Jazz Band in their Jazz and Beyond 2-week series and do a country music day out at the ranch. It's a lot of fun. It's one of the biggest events out there. The wagon's there, lots of good music, good food. October brings 2 weekends of fall color rides that we do. We take a loop kind of out to the first bridge before you get to the Mexican ditch, but we do a loop along the river, and Parks and Rec helps us coordinate that. We do our reservations through them, split the profits with them, and it's really great because people call in, they get their times assigned, and they show up and do the wagon rides. The Christmas open house is a big hit. It started with Parks and Rec doing it out there until one winter when we pretty much got rained and snowed out, and I think the lights were up for almost 6 months after that before we could get to them. But Friends of Silver Saddle Ranch goes out every Christmas, and we decorate the house, decorate around the house, and we do 2 weekends, 2 Saturdays with Santa and an open house, and bring kids out for that. One of the things we noticed at the Kids to Park Day and things is that, well, let me get some of the things we'd like to see happen out there. I was looking at the work plan for Silver Saddle, and one I think you guys saw last meeting. And basically, a lot of the things we want to do overlap with your goals. We want the original siding on the red, actually the siding on the red house now is OSB or T11. It's warping, it's falling apart. The old siding is underneath it. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. When we did a condition assessment out there a few years ago, we thought there was a real good possibility of taking the new siding off would reveal a lot of old siding that was in good repair, and we could kind of restore that. There's roofs that need different amounts of repair. The foreman's house and tool shed are both kind of leaning. I don't think there's foundations under either of them. Now that we have the lawn at the red house, we'd like to put in something, a little more permanent irrigation system. Maybe something that we could, just blow out every winter. Nothing really fancy right now. We're just using hoses and a couple of sprinklers to keep that going. And the red house plumbing and septic system definitely needs work. One of the encouraging things is we did Carson Pride, the wagon was out at Carson Pride last weekend, and the person from Pay It Forward Foundation approached us and said, we would really like to help you on your ranch projects. So it's something that hopefully we could bring to you. We got a grant for that 2011 conservation plan, and if we could bring money to the table to help you guys with that, and throw some of our money into it, that'd be great. The Kids to Park Day really showed that there's a need for more outdoor education and exposure to agriculture in Carson City. A lot of the rural communities, people have acreage or they have community horse parks, things like that. The kids really enjoyed, we had one kid who I think spent most of the day cleaning hooves on the mules. He just thought it was great. And they come out and they can groom and let them sit on it. There's an opportunity at Silver Saddle with FFA or 4-H. We've got stalls and barns out there. And one of the things the board is kicking around is, can we partner with them so that kids can actually raise animals? It's a complex issue because somebody's gonna have to be out there every day to make sure those kids are taking care of the animals and things like that. But it'd be a great opportunity. Right now, with mixed cows and stuff, you get the agricultural feel in the ranch atmosphere. But if we could have some other animals in those pens, historically there were sheep and pigs on the ranch, and we could probably do that. In 2015, the Merchant family left gave the Friends of Silver Saddle Ranch water rights to about 1.5 acres just south of Carson River Park, right where the ranch and the park kind of meet. We've always thought about doing a community garden there, maybe partnering with the greenhouse project or something and getting some kind of garden going there. Dave Deneen's really interested. His mules know how to work farm equipment, and we could actually do demonstrations and do plowing and some ranching activities with the mules and horse-drawn implements out there. In the pollinator garden, right now, the grass area is planted with yarrow, clover, and acelum, as well as fescue, I think. There's a lot of areas around the red house. There's a little area in front that's barren and just collects cheatgrass. And the ditch around, or the bank around Mexican Ditch is the same thing. It just gets cheatgrass every year, and we mow it and try to keep it down. But a pollinator garden would be really easy to maintain there. You could do water, or kind of a xeric landscape and get some plants in there and attract pollinators. So that's kind of what we're thinking, where we're going, and really appreciate the help that Open Space and Parks and Rec gives us in the communication. Historically, it was a little bit patchy, especially after the transition between BLM and to the city. But we've worked a lot of stuff out. We're working with Jen on our use agreement, and things are going really good. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Start over here. Diane?
Thank you, and thank you for the presentation. You mentioned about getting students or kids out there, and so Carson High has a CTE program with the do you partner with them or?
Those are partnerships we want to look into, Molly. I mean,
Okay. The FFA chapter?
Yeah, Dave Deneen does the pumpkin patch out at Sealinger every year, and FFA helps them with that. And they'd be really happy to come out, the community garden, any of that other work, they'd be really happy to come out and work with us on that. It's just, the logistics of all that are just really tough. How do we get animals out there? How do we make it work?
Okay, so my role on the school board is I am the school board trustee liaison so if there's any way that I can help you, get in with the school or whatever, please reach out. Most definitely, trying to get the students out there from FFA.
Sure.
But also if there's opportunities that you have activities going on and would like to offer it. I know we mentioned like last year with the park rangers, and they've been doing really well, but also at I would encourage you, if you can, at the open houses at the beginning of the school year or the back to school nights, they do offer, they have STEM nights as well during the school year, but there's different opportunities to maybe have a table of some sort, letting the different schools know what you're doing.
Okay.
And so if there's anything that you want, I can help you get that.
I'll coordinate with you on that.
Yeah.
And the Rangers been great doing it too. They keep us included whenever they're doing
Great.
kid
Yeah.
events out there. So.
All right, great, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation.
All right, thank you.
I have a question about the community garden. I'm really interested in hearing a little bit more about that. And I'm trying to picture where that's at, south of Carson River Park. Are you thinking that whole ranch area there?
If you go from the red house, there's the trail that goes down towards Carson River Park. Right at the end of that trail, there's an area that we have water rights for.
Oh, okay, great.
So it's all sagebrush right now. I think it used to be pasture, but it's just past the irrigated pastures,
Okay,
and just there's a little like half moon shape right in there.
okay, great. Thank you.
Mike, good job. Hey, right off the bat, you need to be recognized for all the stuff he's just talked about is on his own time. So he's taken on a responsibility, and I go all the way back to when John Singlaub from BLM was talking about buying that parcel.
Yeah.
And myself and Juan went on field trips to Jackson, I can't remember, a good ski town, Jackson Hole, I guess.
Yeah.
And then we went down to Arizona to see these nonprofits that run, because there's this real concern that the family ranch in this country is fading slowly away as the next generation says, I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
So you've carried that ball and you've done this for free. He's done reports for us. He's Mr. History. You are the source of vast amount of knowledge of this community and what goes on. So you need to be given accolades for what you have done for this community.
It's my community, so.
I know, well, and you keep trudging along, doing stuff and becoming more successful at East Obispo. And it is still a traditional looking ranch house and nothing has changed about that. And you've protected that for several years now. So I think it's great. So I want to make sure you get credit for that from everybody to understand. Volunteer extraordinaire is what I would say. And the programs are great that you're doing and expanding and doing all that. So, and I was glad when you said you advanced the membership to 70 people. So that's even better. I sent a little note to you guys last time. You need another box to check that asks me for more money. So you were supposed to be thinking about that. If you give me a chance for $10, oh yeah, I'll do that too. Make me think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Thank
Good
you,
job.
Mike.
I'd like to commend you as well. I mean, what you're doing out there is so amazing and it's so important. And I was curious, it sounds like all of your funding is through membership and you did get a grant. Are you trying to apply for another one?
We haven't since the 2011 grant was it was the National Park Service grant that we got. We could certainly look into that, but yeah, all of our funding is from membership and corporate sponsors. We've been really fortunate this year. The Downtown Business Association has hired the wagon for the wine walk, and they pay us for that. And Brewery Arts Center is using us for most of their big events. We were at a Carson Pride last weekend. We're doing Mark Twain, and we just do a lot with them. And Jazz and Beyond's the same way. They want us out there doing it.
That's-
So, and it's great. It's bringing in money and finally helping to pay for things.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And
Yeah.
I was also wondering, do you have any fundraisers planned?
We do the Christmas and Christmas open house it's a
So that's like a fundraiser, some of
Yeah,
those events?
Yeah, I mean, every time the wagon is out, there's a tip jar.
Okay,
And it's little things like that. It's years ago, we used to do a pancake breakfast and things out there. Working with the health department's easy, but it's a whole nother struggle. And it's just easier there's a lot of businesses, Benson's, Tractor Supply, people like that, who support us with the wagon and the animals and are more than happy to sponsor. RCI is one of our big sponsors, and it's turning around. We finally got people on the board who want to hustle and get things going. So.
all right, thank you. Good job again.
Hi, Charles Norrie for the record. Anytime we can put people, period, together with animals for almost any reason, I think there's absolutely no downside. It is just some of the best experiences I've ever had are, we're not just talking about muck and stalls, we're talking about getting up close and personal. So whatever, I'll commit right now if you need volunteers for staffing. I'd be happy to put some time in on that. And of course, the community garden, you can't have enough of them for some concern. But yeah, whatever we can do to get young people together with animals for any reason is a good idea. And I'll support it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks again for your commitment to the community. It's Sounds like a heavy lift out there, but many hours. But I can tell you're pretty passionate about it. So all this stuff is right at the top of your head.
It's a pleasure.
Excellent. Thank you for coming in. It was very enlightening. I appreciate it. I always seem to be a broken record. I'm the father of 2 young ones, so very excited to get them engaged, and I think it's a great opportunity. I'd be curious about the pollinator garden. I know that's been something that's talked about within open space and parks, right? That'd be super interesting. My question would be like allocation of water for that. How would that work? But I have no knowledge there, so it would be.
There's water at the Red Ranch, and I think that's all allocated to the Red Ranch complex itself. And the pollen, I mean, the yarrow and things that we have right now really don't take much. I mean, it's sprinkling once a week and it's fine. And that's where that irrigation system would help too. If we could just get something in there so we could set it and leave it, it should take off.
Absolutely, that's excellent. Thank you.
Great presentation, thank you. It's just a couple questions. So how much does it cost to be a member?
Our membership is really cheap. It's $10 per person, $25 for a family, and $150 for corporate.
Okay. And then how often do you all get together for your meetings?
Our meetings vary. By charter, we're supposed to do it once a month. We've kind of backed off and do it every other month or as needed. Just because you put a lot of time in, and to sit around at a meeting flapping your gums and doing nothing is kind of non-productive. So we try to do our meetings when we need them and really focus on it. But there's an annual membership, general membership meeting where we do elections and things like that. With our increased membership now, we're getting a lot more support and interest. So.
And then how do we get notified? Are you guys on Facebook? Do you have a
Yeah,
website?
we're on Facebook,
email?
Friends of Silver Saddle Ranch.
Okay, great.
Trying to remember I think our website is Friends of Silver Ranch, Friends of Silver Saddle Ranch.org. And I can't remember what the email address is right now, but come out anytime there's an event out at the ranch, or if you catch us in town or something, we usually have flyers.
Thank you.
Get that out.
Any other questions, comments? Well, thank you, Mike, for your presentation. Appreciate it. Moving on to item 5B, a presentation from the Nevada Department of Outdoor Recreation on the Nevada Starry Skies program. And welcome, Greg, and
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Greg Bergeron, Trails Coordinator, and I'd like to introduce Chelsea Kinchlow. She is the Program Officer at the Nevada Division of Outdoor Recreation. And among the many hats that she wears down there, one of them is she's in charge of the Dark Sky program for our state of Nevada, and we hope to be able to get dark sky designation for Silver Saddle Ranch and the Prison Hill area and perhaps Carson River Canyon. So we're excited about it. There was a great dark areas. So we're very proud of. So with that, I'll turn it over to Chelsea.
Push that button, right? That button.
Oh, this button?
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh,
There we go.
it did it.
Perfect. Yep.
It was very fluid. For the record, my name is Chelsea Kinchlow. I'm a program officer with the Nevada Division of Outdoor Recreation. And as Greg said, I am here to talk to you guys about the Nevada Starry Skies certification program through our division. I believe you guys have had presentations from us before, but just in case, I just wanted to do a quick recap. So we were founded in 2019 with the mission to advance and promote sustainable world-class outdoor recreation opportunities throughout Nevada. We're a little bit older now, so we do that in quite a few different ways. So we do offer strategic planning, so outdoor recreation planning efforts for all communities across Nevada. And we also are transforming how we run our grant program. So we have the Nevada Outdoor Education and Recreation grants that used to be like the education-based grant. So we are creating that as like an umbrella now. And we are focusing on 3 distinct grant programs for our division to offer across the state. So that NOAR grant, which was that education grant, is now the Youth Outdoors Growth and Innovation. And like any government agency, it has to be an acronym. So YOGI for that grant. And then the Community Outdoor Recreation and Revitalization Core grant. And then Cosmos Across Nevada, which is a grant that I would be overseeing. And that's just the CAN grant. We also have our Nevada Trail Finder, which is our one-stop shop for all outdoor recreation. So any way you guys recreate, there's a way for you guys to find the different trails that you guys can go and recreate on and plan your trips. And we have the Nevada Off-Highway Vehicles, which is a grant program through OHV registrations in the state of Nevada. Our most recent grant round just closed, and they offer a little over $1.5 million each year to community, federal, state, and local entities as well. And then the Nevada Starry Skies Certification Program. So we are the first state in the nation to offer a certification at a state level. So it was established in 2021 through Senate Bill 52 with a mission to promote, preserve, protect, and enhance Nevada's dark sky resources. And it specifically designates the Division of Outdoor Recreation to oversee this certification. So we are working on working with unincorporated communities, homeowners associations, tribal governments, parks, open spaces, businesses, and schools, and that includes public and private K through 12 schools and higher education or programs as well. So this bill that brought us SB 52, that brought us the certification, is because we have a disappearing resource here in the state of Nevada, one that is highly valuable and one that we promote a lot and try to get people to go out and look at our night skies. So we know that 80% of the world experiences artificial light at night. That's ALON. And we know that those pesky lights are just shining directly into people's eyes. I get a lot of calls from the public about their neighbors' lights. I can't do anything about the neighbor lights, but I can work with the designated entities to try and reduce overall light pollution and think consciously about how we address lighting within our communities. We know that light pollution impacts human health and wildlife. So we now have UNR who are starting to do these studies, and they looked at sparrow chicks in Reno and Sparks, and then they found that in high density lighting, the chicks are lighter in color and have reduced survival rates. So we are starting to see these really negative impacts from overlighting within our communities. And we also know that the night sky is disappearing at a rate of 10% every year. This is globally. Future generations have a high risk of not being able to see the Milky Way, which was really, 75 years ago, you could step out your back door, and there it was. So the good news is that Nevada we're doing something about it, not only through this certification program, but Friends of Nevada Wilderness has really stepped up and taken on this challenge of getting the word out there about our dark skies. We have 3 dark sky designations. So we have Great Basin National Park out in Baker, Nevada, Death Valley down in southern Nevada, and then the third one is Massacre Rim, which is very remote and very hard to get to, but very worth visiting. We have this amazing license plate. So if you guys go out and look at my car, it's on the back of there. So those funds provide a certain percent to Dark Skies initiatives across the state through Friends of Nevada Wilderness. We also have star parties requested by the public and private entities. Silver Saddle Ranch that we're here to talk about sees, I think, 2 Galaxy Talks each year that have high attendance, and that's done through WNC with Thomas Herring. And I know those are always well attended. State Park sees high amounts of people out for star parties. And then the Astronomical Society of Nevada and the Astronomy Group in Southern Nevada also get a lot of requests for star parties. So people want to see our night skies. Carson has been instrumental. You guys have passed dark skies lighting ordinances, but we also have a lot of other communities that have done this as well. So that's really encouraging to see. And then we are working on establishing a Nevada Dark Sky chapter, which would embolden us to really take charge on advocacy efforts here in the state to further promote this resource that we have. So a big part of this is simply just talking about lighting, which is not always super fun to talk about, but there's 5 principles that you generally want to abide by when we start looking at lighting in an area. So these are provided by Dark Sky International. So you want your lighting to be useful, targeted, low level, controlled, and warm colored. So when we're starting to think about lighting out at Silver Saddle Ranch, we kind of want to start implementing these ideas out there. So why Silver Saddle Ranch? Well, I just happened to be scrolling Facebook a week ago, and I came across this photo. So I don't know who Roy Chavez is, but Roy took an amazing photo out at Silver Saddle Ranch, and this was on June 10th. And so you can see the Milky Way out there. And if you look at the red house, you do see a fair amount of what we call like light glare coming off of there. So these are things that we'd want to address. We'd want to kind of like point those lights down, make them a little bit warmer tones, and make sure we're protecting like any wildlife that might be in those trees that are trying to sleep or hunt. You see a lot of the streaks in the sky. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure those are satellites and not meteorites. But this is just a really beautiful photo that was taken out down along that walking path down towards Carson River Park. So we also like Silver Saddle Ranch because we have photographic evidence that it's a really amazing spot, but we also have scales to kind of help tell us the quality of a night sky. So we can use the Bortle scale, which is a 1 through 9 system, which helps us say, like, this is kind of where this night sky is. And that's just simply by looking up at the sky and kind of saying, all right, this is what I can see. So right now, I think we have suburban and rural transition. So that's number 4 out at Silver Saddle Ranch. If you guys want a number 1, you have to go out to Great Basin National Park or up to Massacre Rim. But 4 is pretty good for Carson City. So the other way you can determine it is through sky quality meters. So it's these really fun handheld devices that Greg and I went out about a year ago and took night sky measurements. And they're just relatively inexpensive, $138 to $155, easy to provide, easy to use, and provides pretty quick data. You have ongoing measurement of the night sky, and it's measured in astronomer units, which are magnitudes per square arcsecond. I don't know what that means, but I can tell you that there's a scale of like 16 to 23. So 16 being high amounts of light pollution in the sky, 23 being pretty darn pristine night skies. So I did put a QR code on there for you guys if you wanted to learn more about how to take these night sky quality measurements. So we got last May. So what you do when you're trying to take a measurement is you have to wait for the new moon, and you have to make sure that it's pretty cloudless out, and you have to wait for something called astronomical twilight. So it's not something you can see, it's something you have to look up on a chart. So astronomical twilight is when the sun is 18 degrees below the surface. So once you look up that time, you have probably about like 20 minutes to actually take all the measurements, because once you're outside of astronomical twilight, you technically can't use any of that data. But what we did get within that time is we took 6 measurements at one spot. So you toss out the first measurement, and then you do your second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, and then you take the median. So I bolded the median, which is that 19.97. So we have relatively clean, pristine night skies out at Silver Saddle Ranch, which is very encouraging. So if we look at the actual lights out there, we did a walkabout about a year ago, and you have about 20 individual lights out at the ranch. So it's actually a really good starting place because it's not going to be terribly difficult to retrofit or address the lighting out there. A lot of the lights no longer work, so that's another good place to start, is just to kind of figure out what lights actually are on, which ones are off. You have a fair amount of what we call like light pole lights out there. And then you obviously have like the exterior lights. So for instance, the red house, all that would need would to be retrofitted with a like warm amber tone light and put a shield on it and maybe like dimmers, timers, those types of things on that house. And then you also have the interior lights inside the barn as well. So I think if I remember correctly, of the 20 lights, 15 were operational. So yeah, there's just some out there that just no longer work and can be removed. So kind of looking at next steps, we need to create a lighting management plan for Silver Saddle Ranch. And that just means identify lights that are no longer needed. So the ones that are burned out or are no longer hooked up, we can prioritize those and say, are these necessary or are they not? And for the ones that we do deem necessary, we replace them with dark sky compliant lighting. It's not hard to find. You can go to Lowe's and find dark sky lighting, and then you would install timers and dimmers depending on kind of what the light needs, where needed, and then hopefully shield the lights as well. So that's kind of next steps for what we're looking at for Silver Saddle Ranch. Once all the lights have been retrofitted, or we've put on timers, dimmers, those types of things, that's when you would receive the certification, and then you would just have to continue on with like the education component out there. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Mhm.
Any comments? We'll start on this side.
Yeah, great presentation, really clean and sharp,
Yeah.
and I love all the pictures. I'll have to reach out to Roy and see if he can email me that picture. One question for you, Chelsea, is how does this program help, anyone that's interested balance being dark sky compliant and certified with security? If you're, lowering the brightness, per se, in layman's terms, have you dealt with any security concerns related to that?
So we haven't dealt directly out at Silver Saddle Ranch. There are several studies out that show intense glare coming off of lights actually shields like an intruder from behind. So if you're looking at a glare, you have to kind of hold your hand up to see someone behind it. So by shielding and pointing the lights down, you're actually able to see more visible. Yeah.
Thank you for all the information. I had some questions, and I believe I saw in a report or something a long time ago. Is there tourism figures associated to dark sky programs? Like, I know from personal experience, I have friends who go down to outside of Lone Pine, and they do like special camps to really like engage in that. Do we have tourism figures on that, or?
We do and we don't. We know that the Ely Star train sells out years in advance. And that train is one that people board in Ely, then they go out to a designated location, get off, and then there's telescopes there, and they are able to view the night sky. We are currently working with consultants to put together an economic development plan for astrotourism in the state of Nevada. So it's coming. We just don't quite have that data yet. And it's something that just, hasn't really been researched or invested in before.
Seems kind of new. Right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I had a question kind of about the designation of different areas. So is kind of the goal just to, for people just use Silver Saddle Ranch there. So you're kind of working within the confines of that area. So is the goal just to kind of tackle those things that you had on the slide, just kind of addressing the lighting in that particular area? Because obviously you're going to get light spilling over from surrounding areas. So is that just kind of the mission and the goal is to focus on what you can control in that
Yes.
space, that environment,
Yes.
and not necessarily, you're kind of just dealing with the surroundings?
Yes, so because most of your streetlights are dark sky compliant in Carson City, that road out along the Silver Saddle Ranch tends to be pretty dark. The residents around there actually keep pretty low lighting as well. So if you're out there, you'll get like some light glare, but it's actually pretty decent. And so, yes, with this certification, it's to control the lighting within the site.
Thank you.
Mhm.
We were joking the other day at the bike event about I saw you had Gerlach on your calendar. I go,
Yeah.
you need a reason to want to go to Gerlach. And it was for the night skies thing, and so thank you for that. I don't know why we have lights on all night. I look at, these satellite images of Vegas and whatnot. What? Why?
Mm.
Just turn them on and turn them off at 10. You can keep them on inside.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just nothing but gratuitous lighting for no particular reason as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, thanks for your effort.
Hi, Chelsea. I'm gonna tag team on what you brought up. I live down at the end of Fifth Street,
Mm-hmm.
and I was wondering if you ever contemplated a program that would start to incorporate the neighborhoods. I mean, our neighborhood is pretty dark, and that license plate, you could have like a cool little plaque that people might sign up and say, okay, I'm gonna change some of the lighting at my house, and then get that plaque. You're part of the club, if you
Yeah.
will, to spread that out on both sides of Prison Hill.
Yeah. So Dark Sky International already has like a home assessment guide that you then can get a certificate for.
Oh, cool.
So we can duplicate it at the state level, but they already
Right,
have
okay, so
something
it's-
going. So if you get on Dark Sky International website,
Okay.
you can definitely look at taking a home assessment, and they help walk you through everything, kind of help guide you through what you're looking for. So for the certification program, looking at those ordinances is one way to kind of address that, but we cannot tell individual homeowners how to light their properties.
Yeah,
Yeah.
darn. I was gonna say, if you want to lose your mind and go door to door with me, then you can. Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I have a couple of questions. Maybe you can answer them, maybe not. With the license plate, what do those funds go towards? Is it mostly like education or outreach or?
I'm gonna get it right. So there's 4 pillars. So there's education, outreach, monitoring is one of them. Helping with Dark Sky International and with our certification program is also one of the pillars. And I think lighting retrofits is like another pillar that they assist with. So Friends of Nevada Wilderness obviously focuses primarily on wilderness. We've kind of had some conversation back and forth about it applying to more just general public lands as well for that funding. So that's just kind of ongoing conversations that we're having with them.
Awesome. And then with the retrofitting and in the modern world we live in, LED is really like popular, but there's also a lot of evidence of major concerns, especially with people, and they basically like flicker really fast that your eye can't catch. And I'm curious if retrofitting those lights to LED is having a major effect on wildlife and whatnot as well.
Yeah, and that's a good question. Again, those are things that have to continue to be studied. And so UNR has already kind of started to do those things. I'm not sure if other states or other universities are investing in looking at negative impacts of light. But it's definitely something that we need to be looking more into.
And for Silver Saddle Ranch, like not to pick on them, but out of their lights, were they mostly LED or fluorescent? Do you know?
I think they were still some of like the very old historic
Okay.
light bulbs. I'm not quite sure the last time we've changed out the lights out in Silver Saddle Ranch. I think the house, the red house, had some fluorescent bulbs, but I don't remember seeing any LED.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really my biggest concern.
Yeah.
But I love the program, so
Mhm.
it's awesome.
I just want to say thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think that's great. If I do have a question, I'm curious, how many communities are you looking at right now and across Nevada to establish similar programs or certifications?
Yeah, so Gerlach right now is kind of the one community I've been super focused on. So just with my time capacity, with all my other job responsibilities, I'm trying to focus on 3 kind of areas, which is Gerlach, Carson City, and then Wild Horse State Recreation Area as well.
Thank you for the presentation and the education. Great job. I miss seeing you on the trail.
And where have you been?
Every morning.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other last minute? All right, moving on to item 5C, discussion and presentation for updates to the Carson River Master Plan and Marina Lovejoy.
All right. Well, thank you all. Marina Lovejoy for the record, Senior Natural Resource Specialist. We're not quite getting out of the neighborhood of Silver Saddle Ranch, talking about the river now. So Lindsay Boyer, my supervisor, our open space manager, gave this group a similar presentation a year ago at the joint meeting last year in June. And so I'm here today to give you all another update. So a little bit of history, planning on the Carson River dates back to the early 1990s. Originally, a Board of Supervisor member, Kay Bennett, proposed that Carson City really start strategically planning for the future of the Carson River through Carson City. This led to a 13-member steering committee with the overarching theme of securing public access to the river. There was a large workshop held in 1994. Over 100 people attended that. Lots of enthusiasm for protecting the river and allowing public access. So that led the Board of Supervisors to pass a resolution for the creation of the Carson River Advisory Committee. That was the original volunteer committee concerned with management and stewardship of the Carson River. That group was in place from 1994 through 2013, when it was later absorbed by the Open Space Advisory Committee. So continuing on with our history, 1996, Carson City had the amazing foresight to pass the Quality of Life Initiative, which you all should be experts in. But that Quality of Life Initiative was a ballot measure to seek increasing the sales tax by 0.25% to allocate towards parks, trails, and natural areas. And thankfully, that led to the creation of the Open Space Program. So capitalizing on that new source of revenue, the Open Space Program went through a period of expansive land acquisitions for the last 25, 26 years or so. And we have acquired over 7,000 acres of open space in Carson City. Truly remarkable. A lot of that was done through purchases, donations, as well as large federal land transfers. And that land was acquired for the benefits of floodplain protection, agricultural preservation, Silver Saddle Ranch, right? Agricultural preservation. Our view sheds, wildlife habitat, watershed benefits, and recreation. And so in 2022, Carson City sought to update the original Carson River Master Plan that was published in 1996, so 30 years ago. Okay. The original goals of that 1996 plan focused heavily on creating public access to the river corridor, because back then much of the river corridor was under private ownership. Respecting private property rights was certainly a major goal of the plan. And so as a result, acquiring land in the Carson River corridor was the main priority of that plan as land became available to purchase. And so today we have about 11 miles of river corridor protected, about 5,000 acres in the river corridor. Other goals of the plan included identifying wildlife habitat conservation opportunities, balancing recreation with natural and cultural resource protection, minimizing impacts to water quality and river health from development, and creating robust education and interpretation opportunities. This is a map showing all of our open spaces in Carson City. There are quite a few, especially on the east side along the river. And so the focus of this plan is, of course, in that river corridor. Benefits of the original plan are numerous. Floodplain protection, of course. That picture kind of in the center, lower center, is of Buzzy's Ranch, which is just north of Silver Saddle Ranch. That is floodplain protection for our community. Because these lands along the river have remained undeveloped open spaces, in this case at Buzzy's, it's agriculture. Because it's undeveloped, it allows floodwaters to slow down, spread out, and sink in. There's minimal infrastructure within the floodplain, just our trail system, and so repair costs after a flood are drastically reduced compared to, say, like the downtown Truckee River corridor, which is pretty sucked in with buildings and asphalt and the like. So a much different story down here in Carson. Other benefits of the original 1996 plan were creating areas and opportunities for education, interpretation and outreach, partnering with groups like River Wranglers and Foster to get kids from local schools out to our sites to learn about the importance of the river corridor. Lastly, there's been numerous recreational benefits from that 1996 plan. Carson City has developed the Carson River Trail, which is a 5-mile contiguous pathway along the Carson River that allows for mixed-use passive recreation. We've also worked with adjacent counties to establish the Aquatic Trail, which is a 14-mile water trail with flat water and whitewater boating opportunities from the Mexican Dam to Dayton. And now, actually, earlier this year with the Portage project around the Mexican Dam, people can extend their aquatic trail and safely get around the dam. And if you guys haven't used the Portage, it's probably too late now in the season, but next year you should really give it a go. The Carson River is an enormous benefit for our community, and it's incredibly important for the public to have access to the river for hiking and birding, biking, fishing, and just quiet enjoyment. But it's important that these benefits, these recreational benefits, be balanced with resource protection. And so that is the primary focus of the 2026 update. So like I said, in 2022, we started working to update this plan. The update is going to look at the current condition of the river, of our properties along the river, where could we improve the ecology through restoration, what recreation updates can be made, maybe we should incorporate more signage or different or more public safety messaging. We want to, of course, ensure private property adjacent to the open spaces in the river corridor is respected, especially as there has been increased recreation through the river corridor. We want to consider wildlife habitat and capture any significant changes to habitat, to that habitat over the years. And we want to emphasize cultural resource protection as well. So to make this update happen, we partnered with the National Park Service River Trails and Conservation Assistance Program. That's a federal program, and it's a technical assistance grant. We, rather than receiving direct funding from the National Park Service, we have received expert technical assistance from a couple of folks on that team, and they've really helped us strategize and plan and facilitate lots of outreach activities. It's a really phenomenal program, and we could not have gotten this far or had as comprehensive a document without their help. We also brought on 2 other key partners to help us with this project, Carson Water Subconservancy District for their watershed expertise, and then the consulting firm Resource Concepts to assist with the more technical aspects of the plan and writing and word processing and that sort of thing. So like I mentioned, the plan area is focusing on our open spaces adjacent to the river, so it's pretty much county line to county line, the south end of Prison Hill on up north through Carson River Canyon. This slide shows a roadmap of kind of where we started. We started in 2022, but in 2024, that's when we really started engaging with different stakeholders and technical experts and the public, on through where we are now, that red star, kind of this meeting here today. So we are solidly in the writing phase, editing phase rather, hoping to have a final draft for you all at the next joint meeting. I do want to touch briefly on just how much time and attention we have spent on the outreach phase of this effort. We've had a public survey, a survey for technical experts in the area. We've had a couple of workshops. We had a public open house. We had a float trip with members of the planning team. And so all of those touch points and opportunities to connect with the people who care about the river have enabled us to write this truly comprehensive collaborative plan. That document will guide staff through the next few decades of work. So like I said, we're in the editing phase. The document has compiled all the feedback from all those different outreach events that we had over the last year or so. There's going to be 5 main themes within the document: outdoor recreation, natural and cultural resource stewardship, education and outreach, water quality and conservation, and then collaboration and partnerships. And so for each theme in the document, there's going to be like a narrative discussion section, kind of how those themes relate to different topics that we deal with on a daily basis. And then there's going to be a series of recommended actions that we work on over the next several decades. And like I said, we're hoping to have a final draft before you all at the next joint meeting. But writing a master plan is a big undertaking, and it takes a long time, and we want to make sure that we do it right. So that is all I have for you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll start with Diane this time. Any questions?
Thank you for your presentation. It was quite easy to follow.
Thank you. When you do have the master plan done, will the master plan include like the first implementation priorities that you would want to go?
That's a very good question. So I believe that we intend to prioritize tasks. Yeah, and we also have the recommended actions kind of organized as what do we currently have ongoing? Because there's certainly a number of things that were recommended by the public or technical experts that we're already working on. And so that'll be captured in that document, as well as new ideas that were brought forth. Those are going to be incorporated as well.
As well as fiscal?
That's our hope, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, is to include that component and a timeline for accomplishing the different tasks. Yeah.
All right, great, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you very much. I love the Carson River Corridor. I'm a frequent visitor. I'm wondering, are you seeing an uptick at all, or have you seen any uptick in user conflicts with the increased recreational use on the river at all?
That might be a question that could better be answered by Greg Bergeron if he is willing.
Yeah, for the record, Greg Bergeron, Trails Coordinator. So that's, I guess the answer is kind of twofold. I mean, yeah, there's more use, but there's also, with some of the opportunities that we provided, hardened surfaces, we've got good solid trailheads. We have a 5-mile contiguous trail from accessible trail, accessible to persons of all ages and abilities from Morgan Mill to the dam. So we've provided places for people to go so that they don't create impacts elsewhere. And for the most part, that's working. And I think that, with a wider trail that provides more opportunities, people expect to see more people. And so that kind of, a lot of user conflict is dependent upon expectation. And if your expectation is that you're going to see other people, then you're not disappointed. We do have some occasional complaints. I guess the biggest complaint we typically get, and this is everywhere in throughout our community, was parks and everything, was typically with dogs. And dog poop, but dog encounters and dog poop are high on the list. And then we occasionally get the electric moto. I mean, by that I'm talking about like an electric motorcycle or a real dirt bike or something. And those are calls that we get occasionally. Really hard to police and handle some of those. But they're actually relatively few and far between. So I would say that my answer is no, we're not seeing an increase in user conflict.
To speak a little bit more on that, there is a section in the document that does talk about user conflict, and we had our senior park ranger kind of take a look at that and write a little bit on that as well. So that's definitely a topic that is incorporated in the updated plan.
Thank you. Great work.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. Question, the boundary lines on the map you have, I think it's slide 8, what kind of determines those areas? Because it looks like Carson City, there's a bunch of areas outside of this plan area. So just curious, it looks like most of the areas we're covering are obviously open space, but a couple like in the northwest we're covering, and it doesn't show it necessarily as a designated open space. It just
Oh,
looks
okay.
like
I
aerial.
understand
Is
your
there
question.
an easement or something?
So maybe I understand your question. So this map, the pink dashed line, those are just all of our open space parcels along the river. And that's what we have, open space has control over. And so that specifically is the area of the plan. As far as the parcels in the northwest, are you maybe referring to some of these parcels kind of on the western side of
No,
town?
Go ahead and go to the other map. And it's
Mhm.
kind of hard to see. I was thinking number 2 up there.
Oh, number 2. Okay, yeah, so
So
that's.
see how to the left, it doesn't seem to be open space. It just looks like an aerial picture. So I'm wondering, how is that covered?
So number 2 is Morgan Mill Preserve open space, and then there is some private property adjacent to that that's not open space, that, we're not responsible for managing that.
Okay, so I'll go to part 2 of my question, and then you'll see see where I was going with this. Is there in the master plan, are you addressing maybe the expansion to those other areas at the north, the south, or is maybe one of the goals for us on open space to put the entire river in open space?
If those parcels were to become available for purchase, that's definitely something that we would consider. Yeah, I mean, that's how we've acquired most of the parcels along the river, is as they've come available for sale or through land transfers. We have certainly encouraged, folks, other landowners to participate in our planning process, invited them to the table. You can see on this map, there's other public land ownerships pointed out. There's, Washoe Tribe and BLM land here. And so we've invited lots of different stakeholders to the table to be involved in this. But as far as like actual actionable directives for open space staff over the next several years, we're pretty much only considering activities on open space lands. But of course, there's some actions where we're saying, collaborate with adjacent landowners on XYZ. Perhaps I'm not answering your question, Member Wiggins.
No, it's okay. I was just thinking as part of the master plan,
And
potentially you would consider expanding the river corridor.
Sure.
To at least have a goal in mind as part of the master plan to protect the entire river.
Yeah, yeah.
County to
It
county
looks
line.
like Jen Budge may have a better answer for your question.
Jennifer Budge, Parks and Recreation Director. The river corridor is, I think from a staff perspective, probably one of the number 1 priorities for potential land acquisition. So as private land becomes available, and as we have funding or grant opportunities or partnership opportunities, we absolutely are open to that. This plan will likely recommend, as those come available, that we acquire. We also are, we'll talk about it under the budget, but we're going to be updating, we have funding to update our open space plan and our Parks and Rec master plan. And from an open space perspective and a parks perspective, we want to talk about citywide, are there acquisitions we should consider for both purposes? And the Carson River Corridor, we would hopefully prioritize those acquisitions, because right now the former open space plan was very vague. It just identified anything that was not government owned in the entire city as a potential acquisition. Well, those don't always make sense. So we want to prioritize those and maybe weight those decisions. But from my perspective, I think the Carson River Corridor would be one of the top priorities.
First of all, you're sparkling. Is that bothering your eyes? I can't. Do you know you're on
It's like somebody with a spotlight zamming your face, but, okay, well then, I just, now that I know that's a reality, then we're okay. So I want, from the beginning, when this was all being worked on and the plan to pass the legislation to support this funding, there were two places that were the most high, were highest on the list, the river and the west side. And the west side's done a really excellent job of doing their thing too and expanding, and we're, actually it's on the agenda tonight for another piece, so, or at least discussion. So the river's always been that important. And then I always, when I came on this committee, I had one thing on my mind because I used to be on the Carson River Committee. And when they joined open space, I was concerned open space wouldn't spend the time as much as I'd like to see on the river, because to me that was a very high priority. And Lindsay was grabbed onto that with this grant that I told her, oh, it wouldn't be that hard to do this job. But 2 years later, they're still spending tons and tons of hours of time on this plan. And they have a great partner, the Carson Water Subconservancy District is a huge part of water management. So without them as a member, it would have been missing a major player in the game. So they have been very participatory in helping us through the process, and then National Parks helping too. So I'm tickled pink that we're moving back towards a plan now that's on the shelf that shows the interest that open space has for the river. And you guys worked really hard on that, and it was an excellent process, which I've had the privilege to be a part of some of those meetings and discussions. So, and there's a hope that this plan, Carson Water Subconservancy, I said this, would be a model for Lyon County and for, what's Gardnerville, Douglas County. So, because it's so well put together, it's a masterpiece. And Maureen's played a big role in that. So you need to get accolades for that, because you bring a lot of experience and knowledge of putting these documents together. So thank you for keeping the river alive, and then this plan is going to be well received and a lot of work, and it's going to be protection for many years to come now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I was just curious if kind of where you're at in the master plan process, if maybe there were some areas that, you know, shed some light on maybe some things that hadn't been considered, or maybe through the consultant process, maybe some topics that came up. They're like, oh yeah, we hadn't thought about that or addressed that as a concern. So I was just curious if there's any kind of new items that are coming up through this update, or is it just kind of status quo and just reaffirming kind of the goals that have always been down there?
Thank you for the question. That's kind of a fun question. I think a lot of things that have come up, I mean, most of what's incorporated into the plan are those recommended actions. And most of that is coming from the public and other technical experts in the area, you know, folks from other agencies in the area. That's the bulk of the plan, really. And then we've built kind of the narrative around most of those recommended actions. And so I will certainly say that staff echo most of the sentiments that are coming from the public and other stakeholders. But it was a great place to start. I mean, it was just a phenomenal process to spend so much time. I mean, almost a year, maybe more than a year, doing all of the different outreach phases. And so I think that we should do that with all of our master planning moving forward. I think it's a really great starting place, yeah.
That pretty much hit my question on the head, but have we gotten a lot of engagement from the public at the open houses?
So we have had one open house, and there was maybe 40 people in attendance. And then we had a public survey, and there was almost 300 responses to that public survey. And the survey was quite long. There was, 20 or 30 questions on there. And so to get 300 responses, we thought was great. And then we had kind of a technical expert survey, and that was answered by maybe 21 people. So there's been quite a lot of engagement, yeah.
Outstanding. That's cool.
Thank you. Moving on to item 6A, which is the director's report. Jim Budge.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jennifer Budge, Parks and Recreation Director. A lot of updates tonight. You have a few handouts in front of you. First off, the blue sheet is just an update from the Board of Supervisors approval of the fiscal year 27 budget, which starts July 1. I did want to point out a couple things on that budget just to highlight for you. Since we had the dark sky discussion earlier, we are reinvesting in the lighting at Centennial Park. We recognize there's a lot of light pollution related to that park in particular, and the lighting is not great for the players. So we are financially investing in that, an initial capital investment, and then we'll have a few years of payments to pay that off, but it'll be paid off in full, which is great. And we didn't have to bond that money. We didn't have to do anything like that or get, any voter approved items related to that, but it's a significant upgrade. And then a lot of other, just equipment and reinvesting in our park system, as well as open space. Some other things I just wanted to highlight on there is the Carson City Municipal Code. We're going to try to update 1302 and 1306. You have another handout, which is the copy of the current code right now. We have a staff internal committee working on some potential suggestions for updating that. I know some of you have volunteered to participate in that process. I just wanted to give you a baseline so you had a good copy of what's currently in code from the 1980s, which is very outdated and not all that helpful to our park rangers. So they would love to see some updates, and I know our staff would, to try to better serve the public and make things very clear. But there are some financial items in the budget that was approved to help get third-party legal support to get that across the finish line. So that's what's in your budget, that $10,000 from Quality of Life Open Space and $10,000 from Quality of Life Capital to try to get those projects off the ground. We'll also have funding to hire a third-party consultant to update our Parks and Rec Master Plan and our Open Space Plan as well. So we'll want all of your participation in that. We're anxious to get that off the ground. We'll probably get a RFP out, in the coming months to get someone on board for that. So a lot of real exciting projects. Are there any questions on the budget before I move on?
So last fall, it was brought to my attention that I think youth soccer is one of the only recreational sports that does not have lighting. So at Pete Livermore, when, fall hits and it starts to get dark at 6 o'clock, the lights at the softball field turn on, and then these kids who are playing soccer are playing in the dusk. Is there any desire ever to get lighting at Pete Livermore?
Thank you. That was brought up previously as part of our budget discussion, and we added it to the long-term capital improvement plan as a potential item for funding, but it wasn't funded for this next fiscal year. And I think there's always opportunities to work with the Youth Sports Association, write grants, if there's a true desire for that, for the capital funding. But it is very expensive.
And so when you say long-term, how long-term is that?
Well, we have a 20-year CIP plan, but I think we added it within the next 10 years.
And then, wow. Well, speaking of lights, did we not pay the bill?
Oh. That's fun. That's a new one. Ooh. Oh.
Okay. Well, thanks. I guess it didn't like what I had to say, but anyway, I would just encourage that if there's a possibility to do it sooner, due to the fact that, especially in the fall. Those kids are playing in the dark.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Do we need to pause for the transcript? All right.
Okay. Should we take maybe a 5-minute break?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
5 minutes, figure the power out?
Yeah.
Appreciate the lighting.
Bathroom break?
All right, bathroom break. back to Molly. We're
Yeah. I don't think what my last statement was, so like I asked if it could be sooner, that would be great. And then, you know, I don't know with the new fields up at Upper Centennial, if there's ever a chance where the youth would be able to play the soccer up there, that would be great. I know that the adults, you know, it's for adult soccer, and they're enjoying it, but if there's ever the ability or opportunity that you give the Upper Centennial to YSA as field designation for youth soccer, that would be wonderful.
Thank you. Any other questions on the budget before I move on? Okay. I know most of you, we've talked about the budget ad nauseum, so I'm sure you're probably over it like we are. So a couple of vacant positions that we have right now. We always have our seasonal positions. Most of our summer positions are full, but there's still plenty of opportunities. We're always hiring year-round at the pool. I always encourage people. One of our park rangers, Alex Berger, is going to Washoe County. We're sorry to lose her, but wish her well. So we do have a park ranger vacancy. And then Nick Wentworth, our park project manager, is starting his own business. So we do have the park project manager position open. So we'll update you as we fill those and move forward on those. The federal lands bill, very good news. We've been working on this I've been working on it for 8 years, and we made it past the Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources, which is the furthest we've ever gone in this process, which is really exciting. We've been working with Senator Rosen and Congressman Amadei's office on the lands bill. So we've made it really far, and thanks to them for getting us this far, and hopefully we get all the way across the finish line. It will be a real benefit to the open space program. It has economic development opportunities and will give us other flexibility at like Centennial Park for third-party partnerships as well. So hopefully we get that across the finish line. Yesterday, the Sea Hill flag was officially dedicated. Congressman Amadei was there to officiate that as well. I just wanted to take a moment to thank all the donors, the volunteers, the Sea Hill Foundation, and the Carson City Foundation for Carson City Parks and Recreation for their support of making it happen. Over $60,000 was contributed, countless hours from hundreds of volunteers. So it was a real community effort, and I just wanted to thank everybody on that. Congressman Amadei also allocated an appropriation request for $1 million of improvements at this community center here. So thank you for that, and that'll have indoor and outdoor improvements. I'm not exactly sure. We requested $3 million, so I'm not sure which projects were final on the list, but I'll report back to you on that. But that's great news. Also, Conserve Nevada selected Carson City to receive $1.2 million for a land acquisition on the west side for Ash Canyon. We're really excited about that. Thanks to Greg and Lindsay for working on that grant application. It really is tremendous. So we'll be reporting back on our progress for that. And we're going to be working with Nevada Land Trust to make that happen. I do want to acknowledge 2 staff that are reaching important milestones. Dave Navarro is 20 years with Carson City, and Patty Liebesbeck is 10 years. And I just wanted to acknowledge them and their hard work, and thanks so much. And I thought since Dave was here, we could embarrass him a little bit. But they are very special employees, and they work so hard for us and for the community, and I just wanted to acknowledge them. And then I think Marina was going to provide just a real brief sheep update under my report as well, because it was the 20th year of our sheep program, which is really tremendous.
First, if I could, I just wanted to mention, Greg Berger and Trails Coordinator for the record, but there's one other person that's reaching the 10-year milestone, and that would be our Director, Jennifer Budge. So.
Oh, you're just bucking for a raise, aren't you?
Okay, back to me. Marina Lovejoy for the record, Senior Natural Resource Specialist. Yeah, so as Jen mentioned, it was year 20 of the sheep grazing program here in Carson City. That started in response to the waterfall fire in 2004. And so 20 years we've been working with Borderland and Sheep Company to bring his sheep to the hillsides on the west side of town. This year there was 2,400 sheep. And they graze in 2 separate bands. One is behind Greenhouse Garden Center and kind of work their way around Sea Hill, Kings Canyon area. And then the north band is kind of behind Western Nevada College, Timberline, Lakeview. So 2,400 sheep this year. We can estimate approximately how much forage they're removing from the landscape they're consuming, how many pounds of fuels. So we estimated about 200,000 pounds of fuels that they're consuming. The adults eat 5 pounds of forage a day, and the little lambs eat 2 pounds. And so lots of math, yeah, about 100 tons. And so without the sheep grazing, all of that fuel would still be on the landscape, just ready to burn. And so this is a really, really important project. Tons of partners, Border Landed Sheep Company, Carson City Fire Department, the U.S. Forest Service, Washoe Tribe, Nevada Division of Forestry, as well as numerous private landowners are involved and come to the table each year to make this, huge team effort, huge group project happen. And so we look forward to more years with all of this great team.
Awesome. Any questions, concerns, comments?
Are you gonna talk more, Jennifer? Okay, I have a question that, because it's been laid in the package, so I don't know where to deal with it, but it's a very simple question. And there may be an answer in the audience, but on those regulations you just sent us, the code, it keeps saying the violations in the park. Do they consider open space a park? So that you can enforce all those rules in open space as well as parks? That's just one question.
That's an amazing question and a great observation. First of all, the things down to the name of our department are incorrect, down to what are parks, what are trails, what are open space, what are under the jurisdiction for the park rangers. We want to clear that up, and we want to make sure that the park rangers have very clear authority throughout the entire department. So what we'll probably do as part of this is we'll approve a resolution with our list of open space properties and parks to make it very clear what their jurisdiction is and what the rules are. And we want to be super upfront about that. It's very confusing. So we want to clean that up, but yes.
Okay, well, then I won't have any criminal activity until you do that.
Okay.
Anything else? Thanks, Jen. Moving on to item 6B, the trail coordinator report. And Greg.
Okay, thank you. For the record, Greg Bergeron, Trails Coordinator. So the last meeting that we had with with the commission and the committee, we went over the annual report. So you had a full recap on the Trails program over the past year. So I'm going to keep this really short. I just had 2 items I wanted to update you on. One is on April 7th, the Parks and Rec Commission recommended to the Board of Supervisors that we name the South Carson Pathway in honor of Glenn Lucky. And the Board of Supervisors approved that on May 7th. Glenn was there when the board did that. And then on May 14th, it was a gorgeous day. We actually put the sign up, and Glenn was in attendance along with family and friends, and he was super excited to have that happen. And I remember one of the things he said was, all I want to do is make people smile, and I think he's done a good job of doing that over the many decades that he has been visible within our community. So a good honor for him, and so thank you for approving that or making that recommendation. And yeah, it was a good day. The other update is, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the American Discovery Trail, but it is a 6,800-mile trail that goes from coast to coast. And it's made up of single-track trails and dirt roads and paved roads and all kinds of things to make a continuous connection across our country, established in 1991. So this year, which is obviously our 250th anniversary, as part of the America 250 celebration, the ADT is planning a nationwide relay event. It will be the largest non-motorized relay event in the history of the world. And it will begin at the Golden Gate Bridge on July 4th, and it will end on Thanksgiving Day in Delaware on the Atlantic coast. So basically, relay participants who will be They will be walking, running, riding bicycles and riding horses. And it'll be different relay participants all the way across the country, but they will be carrying a copy of the Declaration of Independence. And so the ADT, it actually skirts the very, very northern portion of Carson City. It comes down the Lakeview Road and then kind of crosses the south end of Washoe Valley and then up into the Virginia Range and off across Nevada. This year, they are going to bring the participants for this down the Capitol to Tahoe Trail. And so they will wind up on the steps of our Capitol on July 17th. We're planning a media event about 9:30 a.m. on July 17th. So anybody who wants to come in and join that, you're more than welcome to. And then we are also, since we got them to use the Capitol Trail this year, we are trying to encourage them to make that a permanent part of the ADT going forward. So that anybody hiking on that trail would wind up at our Capitol building instead of just skirting the northern part of our community. I mean, we're the capital city, so they should come down the Capitol Trail, right? So that is all I have, and if there's any questions, I'll take them.
Any questions? No?
Okay.
Sounds awesome.
All right.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to item 7A, the update from the Carson City School Board Liaison. Molly.
Thank you, yeah. So first, we wanted to thank Carson Pool for, again, doing the third grade swim lessons. They were very successful and the students enjoyed them. And so thank you for doing that. That was great. We had several students participate as we bring up the agriculture part of it. We had several student groups through several different elementary schools participate in the farmers market at the state legislature in May, which was a huge success. So we are excited for that as well, as many schools are continuing to develop their own gardening outside within their schools, so they're doing that as well. So that is a great opportunity for anybody to participate as well. The end of the year was extremely busy for every school, as it is every year. But one note is, I believe they said that we had over $3 million in scholarships to high school seniors that went out. This year we have several, students going to larger schools, but the amount of scholarships was amazing. And that night is always a very fun night as well. And then I think the end of the year highlight was Carson High moving to a night graduation. It was extremely successful. I don't know that we have ever had that many attendees. So there was 526 graduates from Carson High, Silver Campus, and Adult Education, all in one graduation. But the entire field, the track, the bleachers, it was just packed. And the lights were great, the stage. It was just a very nice evening. So we will continue to do a night graduation. So that was great. And thank you to BAC for allowing us to rent all of that stage. They had to hurry up and bring it back over because they had a concert the next weekend. So that was great. But that was the highlight. And then I would just encourage, Parks and Rec as well, to continue to reach out to coordinate, any outdoor education, information on the trails, the safe routes to school, anything like that, because the kids are always wanting to get outside. So thanks. Any questions?
Thank you, Molly. Item 7B is the update from the Foundation for Carson City Parks Liaison. They emailed us an update, and I am going to highlight one thing near and dear to my heart is last May, I think it was May 3rd, we had our disc golf tournament, which raises funds for the Movers and Doers program. Unfortunately, we had a competition from Reno Disc Golf, But we had 60 players show up. We ended up raising $2,600 for the movers and doers. And we had over 25 businesses donate prizes and raffle donations and things. So I just want to give a big thank you to everybody who came out and supported, and the foundation and also the Parks and Rec, because we work in partnership to make all this possible. So there's a lot of players involved who coordinate everything. Greg Swift, Dennis Peterson, and Candace Harris. And it was just an awesome day. There's a couple rattlesnakes out there, which was the first. So, but that's my one, toot toot. So give you that. I guess that brings us to item 8A for the 2026 open space future agenda items. Anybody have anything?
And Parks and Rec
And
are
Park.
welcome to suggest any agenda items as well.
Anything?
Well, we had talked about this, I think, at the previous meeting, but we had talked about the urban tree canopy and just a presentation on how that's managed. Thanks.
Thank you. We will add that.
Anything else? Alrighty. Brings us to number 9.
I have something.
Go ahead.
I'd really like to see in one of our next meetings, an item where we can get a general update on what Carson City lands they're looking at to possibly purchase, and just open it up enough for us to kind of discuss that and dovetail on to what Mrs. Jerome said in the public comment earlier, so we can address issues that the public brings to us.
Absolutely. We will have that also as part of our open space plan update. That will be incorporated, well, actually, and in the Parks and Rec plan update. Part of that process will be seeking out information from the public and having them engage with us about what their priorities are for acquisitions as we move forward. On the other side, is there anything we need to dispose of? Do we have lands that don't make sense? I can tell you on the park side, I would 100% think we have a few things that are maintenance intensive and might not really benefit the park system. So as part of those processes, we'll have a really robust conversation regarding acquisitions and disposals.
And what is our timeline again? Just remind me of like when that discussion might start to take place.
Well, I think that process will probably take 1.5 years overall. Once we get a consultant on board and we have a good plan for that. But it'll have different components. We'll have workshops, we'll have a lot of public outreach about natural resource management, about parks and our level of service, and what all the things that we do globally as a department. But part of that, an important discussion will be acquisitions. If you want to start that at the next Open Space Advisory Committee meeting, we can absolutely start that there.
I think it's important for us to just kind of have that discussion every now and then.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I'd like to see on the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Do the items not covered automatically move forward? I think the e-bike, the Centennial Bike Park.
The Centennial Bike Park will probably be ready to bring back to the next meeting. We have a draft agreement. Muscle Powered's been looking that over. They got a pro bono attorney to look that as well. And then I think we could talk about that at the next meeting. And then the e-bike working group, Greg is gonna head that up. We have volunteers from you all already, and he'll spearhead that effort sort of separately, and then we'll report back. Okay, next week, getting that scheduled.
I have taken this opportunity because we kind of skipped over the members' announcements because it wasn't on there. But Jen, personally, I want to make sure that I have a lot of years of experience with these types of boards and these activities, and nobody has ever beat you in any way, shape, or form of your work with these groups. You wear a lot of hats, you got a tough job, but you always do an excellent job of communicating what needs to be done to keep all these boards in place, plus the park and rec together, plus the open space, plus staff, plus all those things. And it was nice to have an employee sit there and acknowledge that fact, because they have a lot of respect for you. This community has a lot of respect for you, so I'm sorry that I heard this just nonchalantly today, or I would have brought a cake or something. But thanks, Jen, for all your service.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that.
Because park rec directors don't always hang around a long time. You're doing a good job.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm starting to be a short timer, so.
Well, don't say that yet.
I appreciate that, Mark. Thank you.
Any other items for future meetings? All right. And that brings us to item 9, public comment.
Thank you, Chair. Denny French, Carson City, Nevada. I'm sorry I missed the opening statements of all Mike's presentation, and again, I would have just suggested kudos. And yeah, I was with all of your suggestions of his hard work and appreciation for him, so he deserved every good word and thought you had towards him. He's a hardworking, very special person. Anyhow, I'd also like to say that I'm sorry I missed the public open meeting information, technical issues. So the deal is that I'm concerned, and I'm looking forward to the fact that there's going to be some discussion on the actual what terms and what makes a park as opposed to open space. I think that will be a good agenda item. And I also am looking forward to the canopy considerations that was brought up again tonight. I did not get to hear the opening statements. I'd like to add that there's a monarch migration situation and birds at this time, and encourage people to keep their lights as dim as possible because they are affected by our lights, even in this small area, because it is suspected to be an area that they come for their rest and relaxation during those migrations up to the butterfly matters as well. And so the monarch butterflies could use some consideration from open space if there's land come available to consider corridors for them to travel and specific type of planting that would be encouraged. And I'm looking forward to hearing about more of the park garden that might be starting over at the Ronald Williams Park. I'm looking forward to hearing more about that, but that's parks. But in a sense, it is also your nature support as far as the plants that you pick on a park. So if your open space is considering a corridor and you can use some of the park area for some of the plants required for those critters, please mix your superpowers and your cooperative nature to get those areas co-opted. And while I was a little disturbed by Director Budge's opening, is that she didn't identify herself other than Parks and Recreation. And I think she is a big part of open space, and that should be tacked on there, and the connection and the continuity between you needs to be considered more and more. And so those areas where I think you're overstepping from parks into open space should be considered as well. I think there's a lot of what I'd like to coin a word today is parkinizing. We're parkinizing some of our open spaces by putting asphalt, by building structures that don't fit in with the natural area around it. I've seen a lot of the new structures, designs in there. They're like anything you could have hauled in on a truck and plop down on any piece of land with no considerations of the surroundings. And I don't think that's necessary. Toilet needs to be a toilet, a sink needs to be a sink, but the outside design could consider the outside area around it, and I'd like that to happen more. I don't like using the word parkinization, but I think the parks have sort of had a bigger part in things than you all have as your considerations. And
Thank you, Denny.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Alrighty. Brings us to the final possible action to adjourn the meeting. Our next meetings are August 17th for the Open Space Advisory and August 18th for the Parks and Rec Commission. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Perfect. Thank you and good night.